When life feels as though it's falling apart, when the weight of the world rests heavy on your shoulders, when the answers you seek are nowhere to be found, it may seem as though everything is against you. Have you ever been in a moment where you felt your strength was slipping, where your heart wavered and your mind struggled to hold on? You look up to the sky and ask, "Why me?" In the silence that follows, a thought stirs within: what if this is the moment that truly matters? What if the struggle, the pain, the uncertainty is not the end, but the very test of something far greater than what you can see right now? Pause for a moment. Don't turn away. Stay with me, because this is not a simple story. This is the story of how, in the very moments of hardship, God may be testing your faith. It's the test you've never expected, the test you didn't sign up for, but it's the test you've been waiting for all along. If you're feeling lost, uncertain, broken, I invite you to open your heart to the possibility that this is the moment God is asking you to step into a deeper realm of trust, resilience, and unwavering belief. You see, faith isn't forged in the light of easy days. No, it's built in the fire. It's sharpened in the crucible of trial, tempered by the winds of doubt, and sculpted by the hands of struggle. When things seem to be falling apart, it's not necessarily because God has abandoned you. No, it's because He is preparing you. He is shaping you, molding you, and giving you the opportunity to rise higher than you ever thought possible. Imagine walking through a dark forest at night. The trees tower above you like giants, their shadows stretching long across the ground. The path ahead is unclear, and the sounds of unseen creatures make your skin crawl. You can't see the way, but you can feel it. You are not alone. You take a step, then another, and then another. With every step, there is the fear that maybe, just maybe, you're going in the wrong direction. The whispers of doubt grow louder. Will I make it through? And yet, something deep inside tells you that this journey, as uncertain as it is leading you somewhere extraordinary. God doesn't lead you into darkness to abandon you. He leads you there because He knows that in those very shadows you will find strength, clarity, and purpose you never knew existed. In that moment, you will understand the test was never about the path, but about the trust you placed in the one guiding you through it. Faith is not blind optimism. It's not about wearing a smile through every trial or pretending that everything will be fine. No, faith is the quiet knowing that even when everything falls apart, you are still held. It's the unshakable belief that no matter how fierce the storm, there is purpose in the struggle. It's in those moments of doubt when your heart feels like it's breaking that your faith grows. It's in the struggle, the waiting, and the yearning that your spirit is strengthened, your character refined. Let me ask you something. Do you know what it's like to be tested in ways that shake you to your core? To be asked, not by others, but by God, to hold on just a little longer when every part of you wants to give up. You see, God does not test us because He enjoys our discomfort. No, He tests us because He knows what we are capable of, even when we can't see it ourselves. The truth is, faith without challenge would be like a seed that never breaks the soil, a muscle that never grows stronger, a fire that never reaches its full potential. God tests your faith to reveal the strength you didn't know you had. He tests your faith to show you that you are far more resilient than you could ever imagine. There are times when we question the storm. We ask, why me? Why now? But sometimes it's the very storm that builds the strength you need to withstand what is coming next. There's no victory without struggle. There's no triumph without trial. And there's no understanding of the power of God's love until you've walked through the fire and come out stronger, purified, and ready to face whatever lies ahead. But there's a catch, isn't there? Because the test is not just about you. The test is about the world around you. It's about the testimony you are building for others. When you face the unimaginable and stand tall, when you continue to believe, even when it seems impossible, your faith shines like a beacon to the world. It's the light that others will look to in their own dark moments. The strength you gain, the peace you find in the midst of the storm, becomes the testimony that encourages others to trust, to hope, and to hold on just a little longer. Let's talk about the moments when you feel utterly and completely alone, when no one understands the weight you carry, when no one sees the invisible battles you fight. There's a time when it feels like the world is indifferent, even harsh. But what if I told you that in those moments, God is closer to you than you could ever imagine? When you are alone, that's when you are being carried. When you are weak, That's when His strength becomes the very foundation on which you stand. You see, the real test of faith isn't just enduring the trial. The real test is trusting in the goodness of God even when everything seems to be working against you. It's having the courage to stand firm when the winds howl around you, when the doubts whisper, when the pain intensifies. And it's knowing deep down that you are not walking this path alone. Faith is the quiet confidence that tells you, I will make it through this. Not because I am strong, but because I trust that He is with me every step of the way. But faith, my friend, is not always a straight line. It's not always a simple path. It's messy, it's hard, and it's full of twists and turns. You will stumble, you will fall, you will question, and you will doubt. But don't let that stop you. Because each stumble is a lesson, each doubt is a prayer, and each fall is an invitation to rise again. The beauty of this test, this trial, this struggle is that it's not forever. The clouds will part, the storm will pass, and you will look back and see how far you've come. You will see how your faith, tested and refined, has brought you to a place you never thought you could reach. And you will understand that the test wasn't about whether or not you could endure, but about how you could grow through the process. So, remember this: when God is testing your faith, He is not punishing you. He is preparing you. And in the end, the reward is greater than you could ever have imagined. The journey is worth it. The struggle is worth it. Because you are being made into someone who is stronger, braver, and more powerful than you ever thought possible. And when you come through this test, you'll know in your heart that you are not only victorious, you are transformed. Now imagine you are standing at the foot of a mountain. The summit is hidden behind layers of mist, and the path to the top is steep, uncertain. Each step is met with resistance, the ground beneath your feet unsteady, and the climb feels like an endless battle. The summit is so far away, almost out of reach, and yet you are compelled to keep moving forward. Each time you pause, the mountain seems to grow taller, the distance farther. But what if I told you that the climb itself is the reward? What if I told you that the process, the very act of climbing, is the test that shapes your character and prepares you for the journey ahead? In life, we are often faced with these metaphorical mountains, each one presenting its own challenges, obstacles, and fears. It's so easy to look at the height of the mountain and think it's impossible to scale. It's easy to let doubt creep in and tell you that you'll never make it to the top. But my friend, this is where the test lies. The true measure of your faith isn't in whether or not you reach the top, but in your willingness to continue the climb, even when the summit seems unreachable. Faith is not about knowing the outcome. It's about believing in the process. It's about trusting that even when the path is unclear, there is purpose in each step you take. God doesn't promise that every journey will be easy or that every mountain will be leveled before you. But He does promise that if you keep climbing, if you keep trusting, He will be with you every step of the way. And here's the beautiful thing: each step you take, each breath you take as you move forward, is a declaration of your faith. When you choose to continue climbing, despite the uncertainty, despite the fatigue, you are saying, I trust you, God. I trust that you are with me, even when I can't see the way forward. The mountain may seem insurmountable, but with every step you are strengthening your faith, deepening your trust, and becoming more and more capable of facing the challenges that lie ahead. As you climb, you will encounter moments where your body is tired, where your mind is weary, and where you wonder if you have the strength to go on. But this is where the test becomes most intense. This is where God asks, will you trust me now? Will you keep moving forward even when everything within you wants to stop? And in those moments when you feel like giving up, when the weight of the climb feels unbearable, that's when you realize that your faith is not in your own strength, but in God's strength. It's in those moments that you are reminded that He has equipped you with everything you need to persevere, to endure, and to rise above. Faith is not about being perfect or never doubting. It's about holding on to God's promises, even when it feels like everything is falling apart. It's about remembering that you are not alone in your struggles, that God is walking with you through every challenge, every moment of fear, and every trial. The test of faith is not about being free from difficulty. It's about trusting that in the midst of difficulty, God is faithful. When you are tested, when your faith is stretched to its limits, it's easy to forget that God is still working behind the scenes. You might look around and see nothing but darkness, confusion, and pain. But even in the darkness, God is at work. Even in the confusion, He is guiding your steps. It's in these moments that you need to remind yourself that God's timing is perfect. The test is not in vain. It is not for nothing. It is preparing you for something greater. And so as you face the storms, the mountains, and the obstacles in your life, remember that you are not defined by what you go through, but by how you go through it. The test is not about how many times you stumble or how many times you feel like giving up. The test is about your willingness to keep getting up, to keep pressing forward, and to keep trusting God with every step, no matter how uncertain the path may be. When you're walking through the fire, you may feel as though the flames are consuming you, as though you are being burned to your very core. But here's the truth: the fire is not meant to destroy you. The fire is meant to refine you. It's meant to purify your heart, to strip away everything that is not of God, and to reveal the strength, courage, and resilience that have always been inside you. When you emerge from the fire, you won't be the same person who walked into it. You will be stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to the one who carried you through the flames. Faith doesn't just grow in the good times. It's built in the struggle. It's forged in the pain. It's tested in the times when you feel like everything is falling apart. When God is testing your faith, He's not doing it to punish you or make your life harder. He's doing it because He knows that through the test, you will become the person He created you to be. He knows that through the test, your faith will deepen, your trust will expand, and you will emerge stronger than you ever thought possible. And so when life tests you, when the challenges feel too great to overcome, remember that God is not asking you to do it on your own. He is not asking you to rely on your own strength or your own abilities. He is asking you to lean into Him, to trust that He is with you every step of the way. In the moments when you feel weakest, He is strongest. In the moments when you feel lost, He is the way. In the moments when you feel alone, He is right beside you, holding you up and carrying you forward. In the end, the test of faith is not about the outcome. It's about the journey. It's about the trust, the surrender, and the growth that happens as you walk through each trial. When God tests your faith, He is inviting you to step into a deeper relationship with Him, to experience His love, His power, and His presence in ways that you could never have imagined. The test is not a punishment, it's an opportunity. It's an invitation to grow, to trust, and to become the person you were always meant to be. So when the storms come, when the mountains rise up before you, when the road gets tough and the journey seems impossible, remember this: God is testing your faith, and He is with you every step of the way. Keep moving forward, keep trusting, keep climbing, because in the end, you will not only survive the test, you will thrive through it. You will emerge stronger, braver, and more deeply connected to the one who holds your future in His hands. The test is just the beginning of something greater, and through it, you will come to know a deeper faith than you ever thought possible. Keep going, for the victory is already within your reach. In the midst of trials, it's easy to feel like you're drowning. It's easy to feel like the weight of the world is crashing down on you, like you are unable to catch your breath, unable to rise to the surface. In those moments, everything within you wants to fight, to escape, to run far from the pain. But have you ever wondered, what if it's the pain that holds the key to your strength? What if the very struggle that you so desperately wish to avoid is the tool that shapes your future? God's tests are not always gentle. They do not always come wrapped in soft packages or delivered in ways that feel comforting. The tests may come in the form of heartbreak, disappointment, loss, or confusion. They may look like setbacks, delays, or obstacles that seem to block every path forward. And in those moments when everything feels uncertain, we often turn inward, questioning the fairness of life, wondering if we are being punished or if we have been forgotten. But what if I told you that in those very moments when everything feels lost, you are being shaped into the very person you are meant to be? What if I told you that God's test is not just about the challenges themselves, but about how you choose to respond, how you choose to see the situation, and what you choose to believe about the God who is orchestrating it all? When you find yourself facing impossible odds, when the road seems endless and the night feels too long, you might feel overwhelmed by doubt. You may wonder if you have what it takes to keep moving forward. But in those moments, let me remind you that you are not meant to walk this journey alone. You were never meant to navigate the storms of life in your own strength. That's the beauty of God's testing. It's not about relying on your own resources. but about learning to trust in the one who holds the entire universe in his hands. Faith is not a destination, it's a journey. It's not something that is fully realized in an instant, but something that is cultivated over time through experience, through struggle, and through victory. Every trial you face is an opportunity to deepen your faith. Every difficulty is a chance to grow stronger in your belief. God is not testing you to see if you will fail. No, He is testing you because He knows you are capable of more than you realize. He is allowing the challenges to come your way so that you can discover the strength and resilience that lies within you. He is showing you that with Him by your side, you are far more powerful than you ever thought possible. But here's the thing, faith does not come easily. It does not come without effort, and it certainly does not come without sacrifice. Faith is not a passive thing, it requires action. It requires a willingness to step out into the unknown, to trust when you don't have all the answers, to keep moving forward when everything around you seems to be falling apart. Faith requires a choice to believe in something greater than what your eyes can see, something greater than the circumstances that surround you. When life is testing you, when you feel as though you are being pushed to the edge, you have a choice. You can either let the situation define you, or you can allow it to refine you. You can either succumb to the pressure, allowing the weight of the world to crush you, or you can rise above it, trusting that every hardship you face is part of God's perfect plan for your life. The test of faith is not about avoiding hardship, it's about trusting God in the midst of it. It's about standing firm even when everything else is crumbling around you. Consider this: when gold is mined from the earth, it doesn't come out gleaming and pure. It must first endure the heat of the fire, the pressure of the furnace, before it can be refined into something beautiful. The fire doesn't destroy the gold, it reveals its true worth. In the same way, the tests you face do not define you, they reveal the depth of your faith, the strength of your character, and the power of God's presence in your life. In the heat of the struggle, it's easy to forget that you are being refined. It's easy to focus on the pain, to become overwhelmed by the weight of the circumstances. But when you look at the situation through the lens of faith, you begin to see it differently. You begin to understand that the test is not the end of the story, it's just the beginning of something greater. The pain you are experiencing is not in vain. It is working for your good. It is shaping you, preparing you, and drawing you closer to the heart of God. One of the most powerful things about faith is its ability to transform. It doesn't just change your perspective, it changes you from the inside out. When you trust God in the midst of trials, when you choose to stand firm even when everything around you is falling apart, you are being transformed. You are becoming a new creation, one who is stronger, wiser, and more in tune with God's purpose for your life. Through every test, you are being refined like gold in the fire. But let's be honest, there are moments when faith feels difficult. There are times when the storm rages and the waves crash over you, threatening to drown you in doubt and fear. And in those moments, it's easy to wonder, how much longer, God? How much more can I take? But those questions are not signs of weakness. They are the cries of the human heart longing for comfort, for assurance. And in those moments, God hears your cry. He sees your struggle. And He is there, right in the midst of the storm, holding you, guiding you, and reminding you that you are not alone. The storms of life are not forever. The mountains you face are not insurmountable. The struggles you endure are not meaningless. They are part of the process, part of the refining, part of the journey. And at the end of it all, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to the one who created you, the one who loves you, and the one who will never leave you or forsake you. It's easy to believe in God when everything is going well. It's easy to trust when the sun is shining and life is peaceful. But true faith is forged in the fire. It is tested in the storm. It is strengthened when you stand firm in the midst of uncertainty. And when you come through the fire, you will look back and see that it was in those very moments of hardship that God was shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something far greater than you could ever have imagined. God's tests are not arbitrary. They are not cruel. They are not designed to break you. They are designed to build you. They are designed to stretch your faith, to deepen your trust, and to reveal to you the strength that is already within you. The challenges you face are not the end, they are the beginning of a journey that will lead you to a deeper relationship with God, a more vibrant faith, and a life that is marked by resilience, courage, and unwavering belief. So when life tests you, when the trials come, remember this: you are being refined. You are being prepared. You are being shaped into the person you were always meant to be. The test is not a punishment. It is an invitation to grow, to trust, and to become all that God has created you to be. And when you emerge from the fire, you will be stronger, purer, and more powerful than you ever imagined. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. The best is yet to come. In those moments when the weight of the world feels unbearable, when every step forward feels like an impossible task, remember that the journey is not meant to be easy. It's not meant to be simple or without struggle. If it were, we would never come to understand the depth of God's love, the magnitude of His power, or the strength that lies within us. Faith is not a one-time decision. It is a constant, active choice made anew with every trial, with every moment of uncertainty. What is it that strengthens your faith? It is the very trials that threaten to break you. It is the pain that causes you to question, the heartache that causes you to doubt, and the fear that makes you tremble. These things are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to build you up. They are the fire in which your faith is tested, where it is refined, purified, and made stronger. Sometimes in the thick of the storm, it's hard to see the bigger picture. You may feel as though you are walking through a fog, unsure of which direction to go, unsure of whether or not you are making any progress. But in truth, each step you take in faith is a victory. Every moment you choose to trust, even in the midst of doubt, is a step toward becoming who God created you to be. You may not be able to see the end, but God sees the whole journey. He sees where you've been, where you are, and where you are going. And He is with you every step of the way. It's important to recognize that your faith does not rely on your circumstances. It does not depend on how well things are going or how easy life may be at a given moment. Faith is the foundation upon which you stand when everything around you seems to be crumbling. It is what holds you steady when the winds howl and the waves crash. It's not a matter of whether or not life will challenge you, but how you will respond when those challenges come. The test of faith is not about how you feel in the moment. It's about how you respond to the circumstances around you. It's about whether you will choose to believe in God's goodness, His faithfulness, and His presence, even when everything in your world seems to be telling you otherwise. God is not absent in your pain. He is not distant in your struggles. He is right there holding you, guiding you, walking alongside you, even when you don't feel His presence. Faith at its core is choosing to believe in God's truth above the lies that circumstances may whisper into your ear. There may be moments when you feel as though you are standing on the edge of the unknown, unsure of where to go or what to do next. But it is in those moments that God is inviting you to trust Him in ways you've never trusted before. He is inviting you to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown, knowing that He will be there to catch you, to guide you, to lead you every step of the way. The test of faith is not in staying where you are, but in stepping into the unfamiliar, into the uncertainty, knowing that God is faithful to lead you. Faith is not about certainty. It is about trust. It is about saying, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know that God is already there. It's about choosing to believe that the one who created the universe is the same one who holds your life in His hands, and that His plan for you is greater than anything you could ever imagine. When you put your trust in Him, you are choosing to believe that He is in control, even when everything around you feels out of control. And as you continue on your journey, as you continue to face the challenges that arise, remember that you are not being tested to see if you can bear the weight of it all. You are being tested to see how much you will rely on God. The test is not about your ability to carry the burden alone. It is about your willingness to surrender it to Him. He is not asking you to carry the load by yourself. He is asking you to trust Him with it, to give it to Him, and to allow Him to carry you through it. Each day, as you wake up and face the challenges ahead, remember that the test is not about your strength. It is about your trust in God's strength. You may feel weak, you may feel unsure, but when you lean on Him, when you place your trust in Him, He will give you the strength you need to keep going. The test of faith is not about being perfect or never stumbling. It's about trusting in God's grace, His love, and His provision, even when the way is unclear. So when you find yourself in the midst of the struggle, when you are facing obstacles that seem insurmountable, remember that the test of faith is not just a moment of trial. It is an opportunity. an opportunity to grow, to trust, and to become the person God has always intended for you to be. Every challenge, every hardship, every moment of doubt is an invitation to experience God's presence in a deeper way, to witness His faithfulness in action, and to see His love unfold in ways you could never have imagined. God's test is not meant to break you. It is meant to build you up, to strengthen you, to deepen your faith. And when you come through the other side, you will look back and see how far you've come. You will see the ways in which God has held you, carried you, and guided you. You will see that through every trial you have grown stronger, braver, and more connected to the one who created you. As you walk through life, remember this: the test is not about what you can do on your own. It's about how much you trust in God. It's about how much you are willing to surrender to Him, to lean into His strength, and to allow Him to carry you through. The trials may come, but with each one, you will rise higher, stronger, and more deeply rooted in your faith. The journey is not easy, but it is worth it. Keep going, keep trusting, keep believing. God is with you every step of the way. Every day we are called to wake up and face a world that may seem unyielding, a world that may not always make sense. Life throws challenges our way, sometimes at an overwhelming pace, sometimes when we least expect it, and often when we feel least prepared. Yet it is in the midst of these trials, when we are most vulnerable and most tempted to lose heart, that the very essence of our faith is tested. The strength of our belief isn't built on the mountaintops of life, but in the valleys, in the moments when the weight of the world presses down upon us and we must choose whether to stand firm in our faith or to succumb to despair. Have you ever wondered why God allows these tests to enter your life? Why He would allow pain, heartache, disappointment, or struggle to touch you? It is not because He delights in your suffering. Far from it. God sees your tears, hears your cries, and feels your pain. But there is something more profound at work beneath the surface. Every test, every hardship is a piece of the puzzle, a part of the greater journey He is leading you through. God does not waste your pain. He uses it to refine you, to strengthen your faith, and to bring you closer to Him. In those moments when life feels like it is unraveling, it is easy to question everything. Why am I going through this? Why does it seem like I can't catch a break? Why does it feel like God is silent? But in reality, God is not absent in your struggle. He is in the silence just as He is in the noise. He is with you in the moments of despair, in the moments when you feel like you can't go on. In fact, it is often in those times when you feel most alone that He is closest to you, holding you with love and grace, reminding you that you are never forgotten, never abandoned. The tests we face are not meant to be punitive. They are not sent to break us, but to build us up, to prepare us for what is yet to come. There is something profound about how God works through difficulty. In the midst of trials, He teaches us dependence on Him. He teaches us that we do not have to face the storms of life alone. The winds may howl, the rains may fall, and the lightning may strike, but He is the anchor that keeps us steady. The test of faith is not about proving to God what we can do. It's about proving to ourselves what we are capable of with Him by our side. You may not always understand why things are happening the way they are. The path ahead may seem obscured by clouds of doubt and confusion, and the weight of your burden may seem too much to bear. But remember this: God does not waste any moment. He does not bring us through trials without purpose. There is always a reason, even if that reason is not immediately clear to us. When you are in the midst of the test, it is easy to feel as though you are wandering aimlessly, but God knows exactly where He is leading you. Trust that He has a plan, even when the road ahead seems unclear. He is the author and the finisher of your faith. He knows the beginning and the end, and He is with you every step in between. One of the most profound aspects of faith is that it is not always about certainty. In fact, faith often thrives in the midst of uncertainty. It is in those moments when you don't have all the answers, when you don't know what is coming next, that your faith is given the space to grow. Faith is not about knowing exactly what is going to happen or how everything will turn out. It is about trusting that God is good, that He is in control, and that He will never leave you nor forsake you. When you place your trust in God, you are choosing to believe that He knows what is best for you, even when you don't understand the reasons behind your struggles. In life, we often find ourselves at crossroads, standing at the edge of decisions that feel weighty, decisions that carry the potential to change the course of our lives. When faced with these moments, it is easy to feel overwhelmed by the fear of making the wrong choice. The test is not in making the right decision, but in trusting God with whatever decision you make. It is about knowing that, no matter what path you choose, He will guide you. His hand will be with you. His wisdom will lead you. The test is in surrendering your fears and your doubts to Him, in choosing to trust that He will bring you through, even when the future seems uncertain. God's timing is often different from our own. We may wish for answers now, for resolutions today, but sometimes the test lies in waiting. The waiting period is not a punishment. It is a time of preparation, a time of learning, and a time of growth. When God delays the answers, when He seems silent, it is not because He is not at work. He is preparing you for what is ahead. The waiting period is a crucial part of the test. It is a time to cultivate patience, to strengthen your trust in Him, and to deepen your relationship with God. During times of testing, it is easy to feel like you are walking through a wilderness. The road may be long, the path may be unclear, and the end may seem far off. But even in the wilderness, God is there. Even in the dry seasons, He is working. The wilderness is not a place of abandonment, it is a place of preparation. It is where God refines us, where He teaches us to depend on Him, and where He makes us more like the people He designed us to be. If you feel like you are walking through a wilderness, remember that you are not lost. You are being led. The test is not in the wilderness itself, but in how you choose to walk through it with faith, with trust, and with an open heart. Sometimes the test is about your perspective. How do you view the difficulties in your life? Do you see them as obstacles, or do you see them as opportunities? Do you view your trials as signs of abandonment, or do you see them as signs of God's refining process? The way you view your circumstances can determine how you respond to them. When you begin to see your challenges as opportunities for growth, for transformation, and for deeper connection with God, your perspective changes. You begin to understand that the struggle is not there to defeat you, but to help you become the person God has called you to be. Every test you face, no matter how difficult, is a part of God's bigger plan. It may not feel like it now, and it may not make sense in the moment, but in time you will see how each challenge has shaped you, how each test has strengthened your faith, and how each trial has drawn you closer to the heart of God. You will look back and see the hand of God in every moment, every step, and every decision that led you to where you are. As you walk this journey of faith, understand that the tests will come. There will be seasons of difficulty, times of uncertainty, moments of doubt. But through it all, God is with you. He is refining you, shaping you, and drawing you closer to Himself. The test is not to break you, but to build you. It is not to bring you down, but to lift you up. It is not to defeat you, but to help you become all that God has called you to be. As you move forward in faith, keep trusting, keep believing, and keep surrendering. The tests may be difficult, but they are not the end. They are the beginning of something far greater than you could ever imagine. God is with you through it all. Keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing, and know that in the end you will not only survive the test, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more deeply connected to the God who has always been with you. In the midst of the storm, there is a quiet peace that comes from knowing you are not alone. It's the kind of peace that defies the chaos around you, the kind that sustains you when everything else seems to be unraveling. Faith doesn't promise that the storm will be over quickly, or that the winds won't howl louder, or the rain won't fall harder. What it does promise, however, is that you will not face it alone. The presence of God in the storm is a reminder that even when you can't see a way out, He is with you every step of the way, holding you steady. When life feels like it's pushing you to your limits, when the weight of the world presses down upon your shoulders and the path ahead seems more unclear than ever, it is easy to become overwhelmed. In those moments, we often feel as if we have nothing left to give, as if we are running on empty, with nothing but a deep, aching weariness in our hearts. But even in the deepest weariness, God is still there. His strength is made perfect in our weakness, and when we have nothing left, He is there to fill us with His strength. It is in these times that we learn to rely on His power, His provision, and His presence in ways that we could never do in our own strength. The test of faith is not about how strong we are on our own. It's about how much we are willing to lean on God, to trust in His strength, and to allow Him to carry us through. The trials of life are a reminder that we are not in control of everything. They remind us that we are human, that we are frail, and that we need God in every moment. It is easy to want to have control, to want to fix things on our own, but the tests of life push us to surrender, to give up our need for control, and to place our trust fully in God's hands. In times of difficulty, it is easy to question why things are happening the way they are. But God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. He sees the bigger picture, the plan that we cannot yet fully understand. The test of faith is not just about the immediate circumstances. It's about trusting that God has a purpose beyond what we can see, beyond what we understand. Even when things don't make sense, even when we are walking through dark valleys, we can trust that God is leading us to something greater. Our present circumstances are not the end of the story. They are part of the unfolding of a divine narrative that only God can fully comprehend. There will be moments in life when the path feels uncertain, when the decisions ahead seem overwhelming. You might feel lost, unsure of where to turn or what steps to take. But know this: in those moments of uncertainty, God is guiding you. His presence is with you, even when you can't see the way forward. The test of faith often involves walking in the dark, taking steps when we don't know what's ahead, trusting that God will light the way. It's easy to trust when everything is clear, when we have all the answers. But true faith is tested in the dark moments when we must walk by trust alone, without the assurance of knowing what's to come. Each test you face, no matter how daunting, is an opportunity to grow deeper in your relationship with God. It is a chance to lean into His love, to trust in His faithfulness, and to experience His grace in ways you never have before. The tests are not the end, they are the means by which God refines and strengthens your faith. Each trial you face is an opportunity to choose faith over fear, trust over doubt, and surrender over control. With each test, you are becoming more of the person God has called you to be, more like the image of Christ. In the midst of the testing, there will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you question whether you have the strength to continue, whether your faith is strong enough to carry you through. But even in those moments, God is at work. He knows your heart. He knows your struggles. He knows your weaknesses, and He still loves you, still chooses you. Even when you falter, even when you feel like giving up, God is there encouraging you to press on, to keep going, to trust that He will never leave you. It is in those moments of weakness, when you feel like you can't go any further, that God's grace shines brightest. His grace is sufficient for you. His power is made perfect in your weakness. When you are at your lowest, He lifts you up. When you feel broken, He heals you. When you feel lost, He guides you. The test of faith is not about achieving perfection. It's about surrendering to God's perfect love, trusting that He is with you through every high and low, and allowing Him to transform you through the process. As you walk through the tests of life, remember that they are not in vain. Every trial, every struggle, every heartache is part of the beautiful story that God is writing in your life. The path may be difficult. The road may be long. But you are not walking it alone. You are walking it with the one who has already overcome the world. The test of faith is not meant to break you. It is meant to shape you, to refine you, and to draw you closer to the heart of God. Through every trial, He is with you, and through every test, He is preparing you for something greater. Trust Him. Keep going, keep believing, and know that He is faithful to see you through. In the end, the trials we face are not just obstacles to overcome, they are opportunities to deepen our faith, to trust in God more fully, and to become the people He has created us to be. The path may not always be clear, and the journey may seem long, but God is with us every step of the way. When we feel weary, He strengthens us. When we doubt, He reminds us of His promises. When we stumble, He picks us up. The tests of life are not meant to break us, but to refine us, to shape us, and to draw us closer to Him. Through every struggle, every hardship, and every trial, God is at work in ways we may not always see. His love, His grace, and His faithfulness are unwavering, even when the road is hard and the answers are unclear. The test of faith is not about our ability to carry our burdens alone. It is about learning to lean on God, to trust His guidance, and to surrender our fears and doubts to Him. In doing so, we discover the power of His presence, the strength of His love, and the peace that comes from knowing we are never alone. As we continue on our journey, let us remember that God is always with us, that He sees the bigger picture, and that He is using every test to prepare us for what is yet to come. Let us choose to trust, to believe, and to walk in faith, knowing that with each step, we are becoming more of the person God has called us to be. And no matter what challenges lie ahead, we can face them with the assurance that He who began a good work in us will carry it to completion. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep walking forward with faith, for the journey is worth it, and the end will reveal His goodness and His glory.